Marvel fans, we have even more updates about Robert Downey Jr., Doctor Doom, the plan from Kevin Feige for this character and for the Marvel Cinematic Universe overall. And I'm going to be real, this is another one that fans are kind of upset about, and I think there's just a lot of sort of confusion and mixed feelings about Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom. And so in this video, I want to go over the new reports. I want to talk about why fans are upset, why Rob from Comics Explained is kind of at the center of all of this drama. And I also want to yap about my opinion because I actually think this is going to be okay. I know it might be copium. Maybe I'm just riding hard with RDJ Doctor Doom and I'm pot committed at this point. But I also think you should hear me out because I actually do love the character of Victor Von Doom. And I do think that they are going to do that character justice in the next couple of years on the biggest stage possible, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Okay, so a lot of this centers around updates from Daniel RPK. Okay, so here's the tweet right here, man. This caused some serious waves, and this is Daniel responding to a tweet from Rob from Comics Explained. And by the way, I actually talked to Rob about this whole situation. He's gonna come on the stream on Monday, and we're gonna talk about this whole thing, so that should be really cool. Make sure you check out the streaming channel or Twitch for that on Monday. But basically, Rob was talking about all of these different reports that Reed Richards and Doctor Doom are not really going to interact in that movie. And Daniel says that is the big issue with how they're handling Doom. Even if him and Reed will have a lot of interaction in Doomsday and Secret Wars, they are still making him the main antagonist of the multiverse saga and the Avengers films and Galactus, the villain of the Fantastic Four movie. Meaning Doom is now primarily set up as an Avengers villain in the MCU and not an F4 villain. And since MCU villains often die at the climax of their arc, it doesn't leave any chance for him to be a Fantastic Four villain afterwards. But hold on to your butts, nerds, because there's even more. Here, Daniel is answering a question, and he says there's a very small chance we'll get a second Doom afterwards. Feige sees RDJ as the main Doom. He claimed he cast RDJ to get Doom right. But hold on, there's more. Daniel goes on to say he's not just set up for 2 appearances. He'll be in the Fantastic Four and potentially some other projects between Doomsday and Secret Wars. But yeah, once the saga wraps up, that'll likely be it for him. Okay, so that's obviously crazy, and that made major waves. People were freaking out on our Discord yesterday, and so I wanted to make this video. I wanted to clarify. So there's a couple of things we have to go over first. Number one, Daniel has good sources. Okay, he's super plugged in. He has incredible sources. He's been right on a lot of different stuff, but he does editorialize and opinionate a lot of the stuff that he reports and the way that he reports it. Remember that Daniel was super reluctant to accept the fact that Marvel Studios was going to go away from Kang the Conqueror. So much so that it's a big blemish, a massive stain on his record as a scooper, and there were signs all over the place, as I pointed out in many videos and streams, that indeed Marvel Studios was pivoting towards Doctor Doom. And yet Daniel, for some reason, just reported and continued to report that they weren't going to go away from Kang. So he obviously has a bias, and he lets that bias get in the way of accurately reporting the information that he receives. Which again, I think is good info. I think he's got good info. So let's look at what he's saying here. Let's try to strip away the opinion and the editorialized nature of what he's saying, and let's get into what the actual information is. So number one, this whole idea of Reed Richards and Doctor Doom. I think the reality of this, the truth of this, is that we will not be getting a lot of the Reed Richards, Doctor Doom dynamic on screen. It may well be a huge part of those characters, of the formation of those characters in that universe, but it's not going to be something that they actually heavily explore in the FF movie. The FF movie is primarily about Galactus. It's about Franklin Richards. It's about the multiverse. I think it's likely about the Beyondverse. And remember too that this whole situation stems from a comment made by Alex Perez on one of the Discord Q&As where he was talking about how the relationship between Thanos and Tony Stark will be mirrored in the relationship between Reed and Doom. Remember, Tony Stark knows something's coming for Earth. After the Avengers film and saving the world from friggin' aliens, Tony realizes massive threats are happening. But he has a vision because of the Scarlet Witch that shows him a really, really dark future in which the Avengers die and Thanos wins, and it's really bad. Now, Tony didn't even realize that that was actually Thanos in his vision. He just realized that he screwed up and the Avengers died. And that motivates him to start wanting to put a suit of armor around the world, wanting to start to understand more about the cosmos to prepare. And yet Thanos knows of Stark. Thanos says Stark's name when they meet, and he's like, yeah, man, I'm also fated, and I know who you are. And I think what Alex is trying to say in his initial report was that they will not have a lot of screen time interactions, but they're both dealing with the same thing, with the collapsing of the multiverse. And Doctor Doom, just like Thanos, will be a character that has been off screen understanding this threat, preparing for this threat, and we're going to begin to see the influence of his actions in the next couple of years of movies leading up to Secret Wars. But no, you will not have a lot of Reed and Doom on screen together. And while I understand that the Reed and Victor dynamic is super cool in comics, and it does have a huge impact on the Secret Wars event from Jonathan Hickman, I would also tell you that the best Fantastic Four stories actually don't have anything to do with Doctor Doom. And a lot of the best Doctor Doom stories don't have anything to do with the Fantastic Four. I'm talking about Triumph and Torment, the Books of Doom, although I guess that technically deals with Reed. He's not really the focus of that story. Doom Wars has very little to do with the Fantastic Four. It's Victor basically versus T'Challa and the Wakandans. I'd also like to point out that it does seem like their relationship is going to be on display. They will have interactions in the Avengers movies, as both Daniel and My Time to Shine have reported. And because they both come from the same universe, I really do believe they will have a prior relationship. They'll know each other, and aspects of the comic book relationship will be adapted into the MCU. But they cast Robert Downey Jr. as Victor Von Doom specifically because there's going to be a big connection between that character and all the characters we already know in the MCU, because the character is going to look exactly like Tony Stark. And by the way, at this point, we should pretty much just say that my theory is confirmed, right? This is my theory, and definitely not a theory that Parker Peters of the Nerd Ventures had on our Discord that I first overlooked and then thought about it and was like, oh my God, that's actually what they're doing. And if you didn't know, in my theory, Doctor Doom is Robert Downey Jr. That's who he is. And in fact, that's who he even was during the Infinity Saga. That guy that we saw as Tony Stark throughout all of those movies was actually a Victor Von Doom that was adopted by the Starks and given the name Tony. That's my theory, and it continues to seem like that's probably the way they're going to go, because again, they want to heavily play off of the relationships that the characters we already love had with Tony Stark, and Marvel Studios was trying to do something with an evil Tony Stark for years. There were rumors about that. That was something they really wanted to do. That was essentially always the way they wanted to bring RDJ back. And so I really think that's what it is, right? So you're basically talking about a character that in the Prime universe was given a different life, had a different life. But now let's talk about the second point that Daniel makes here. He says there's a very small chance we'll get a second Doom afterwards. Feige sees RDJ as the main Doom. He claims he cast RDJ to get Doom right. And so look, again, this is just framed super negatively, all right? Like Daniel's just saying, like, bad chance you're not going to get a lot after this because this is the Doom, right? Well, another way to say that is like, oh, they actually think of RDJ as the Doom, and they're going to do a lot of stuff to actually get that character right. And this is what's driving me crazy about this report, right? Think about what is being said actually out there. Robert Downey Jr. did an interview a couple of weeks ago where he was talking about Kevin Feige's motivation, the conversation surrounding the Doctor Doom character. That's where Daniel is pulling this from. And within that article, it is addressed that they legitimately want to get Victor Von Doom right. That's like the actual thing, is like, no, let's get this character right, this epic, iconic character. And like, you're literally hearing from people that he's going to actually be Victor Von Doom, and they're going to put a lot of time and energy into getting that character right on the biggest stage ever. And people are quibbling about it just because they wanted it to be set up over like 5 to 6 years. Look, man, I'm trying to be fair here. It is a shift. Okay, they obviously shifted away from Kang, and even if they were going to do Doom, they're doing it in a crazy way now, and they're doing it very quickly. Okay, and I understand that. But this guy as Doctor Doom is going to be in several movies over the next couple of years. You're going to get a ton of RDJ as Doctor Doom. And it was just revealed by Daniel that he's going to film for 3 months for Avengers 5. All of the other actors are filming for 2 months, like all of the sort of leads of the movie, because this is a big movie with like 70 characters. It's going to be super sprawling, right? They're going to do 5 months of principal photography, which is, by the way, massive. That's like 2 movies or like a huge show worth of shooting. And Robert Downey Jr. is doing 3 months of that. Like 3 months of that. There's going to be so much goddamn Doctor Doom and Doomsday. It's going to blow your mind. Oh, and by the way, he's also going to be in Spider-Man 4. Oh, and by the way, he's also going to be in the Fantastic Four. Now, again, he's not a huge part of that movie. He's not a huge part of Spider-Man 4 either, but they're going to begin to set up that story of Doom all throughout the next couple of years. Major screen time in Doomsday. That's like Infinity War, right? We didn't really know shit about Thanos in the MCU until Infinity War. The whole setup for that movie happens at the beginning where they're talking about all these scenes. We're getting flashbacks of Thanos. They fleshed the character of Thanos out in a single movie after teasing him out and piecemealing him out for 10 years. So they want to do this character justice. He's the definitive Doctor Doom. You're going to get a ton of him in the next couple of years, and they're committed to getting this character right. And yet, the focus of this reporting is it's not Fantastic Four comic accurate Doom with Reed and Doom actually doing it, and somehow this is bad. Like somehow what we're looking at right now is bad. And again, look, I'm going to talk to Rob about this on stream. I think he feels differently than I do. So maybe it'll be a good, passionate discussion where we argue a little bit. But, you know, look, obviously I think we're going to see eye to eye on a lot as we both love the character. But I'm trying to be chill here. I understand that fans have concerns and are upset about certain elements of what they're hearing in these leaks and rumors. But I'm the biggest goddamn Doctor Doom fan on the planet, man. And I'm telling you, this is good. This is going to be so good. Now, I want to talk about more Doctor Doom after Secret Wars, okay? Because there is truth in what Daniel is saying, but he's just saying it in such a stupid, frankly, Daniel RPK kind of a way. Because it is true that when you build up a character to be the big bad of a whole saga, and then you make them the villain of the next 2 big Avengers movies, you can't just like turn around after concluding that and then have that guy be the main villain. That would be like just bringing Thanos right back. Like imagine, right? We do Infinity War and then we do Endgame, and then a year later in Multiverse of Madness, Thanos is back and he's just the threat, right? It would feel a little tiresome. You'd be like, damn, are there any other villains out there? And so in a sense, even if they don't kill Doctor Doom at the end of Secret Wars, you're probably not going to get a lot of Doom for the next couple of years after Secret Wars. But the idea that he would never return, or that that's just it for Doctor Doom, is absurd. He's one of the most popular characters ever. And by the way, we're literally in a phase right now where we're talking about everybody's coming back. James Spader's coming back as Ultron. Like, bro, everybody's coming back. RDJ's coming back. Hugh Jackman just came back. Like, dude, what are we saying here? Like, oh, it's over for Doom and it's over for RDJ. Didn't we think that before? And now this motherfucker's back? I mean, come on, man. I'm just saying, chat. There's a lot of opinion here coming from Daniel, and a lot of people are getting like really stirred up about it. He has the information, right? Like, fair. And I think there's truth, maybe even in the opinions that he has. Maybe you guys sharing some of those opinions too. But I'm telling you right now, as somebody that was covering Marvel the entire goddamn time through Endgame all the way through Phase 4 and Phase 5, I'm telling you right now, shit hit rock bottom, probably during Secret Invasion, but really a lot of bad stuff. People were super disengaged, and it wasn't really fun to talk about Kang and speculate about Kang. There would be some moments where that would work and I could tie it to really interesting things, but reality is there's just not a lot of hype about what Marvel was doing. Now there's a ton of hype and a ton of interest, and the fact that people are so concerned about how Doctor Doom is handled just shows you that this is a way better choice for this level of villain in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. People give a shit about Doctor Doom, and that's a good thing. And by the way, last point on this is that I actually think that Robert Downey Jr., Kevin Feige, a lot of people are sitting back and they are listening to this feedback from you guys. And I think, especially when it comes to Robert, he is taking this as a chip on his shoulder, and he's going to go out and give us the performance of a lifetime. And they are going to actually establish Doctor Doom, and Doctor Doom is going to be like the coolest villain ever. People are going to want, like, kids are going to want to be Doctor Doom for Halloween. Doctor Doom merchandise, toys, everything. Like, Doctor Doom is about to have such a glow up in the eyes of normies, in the eyes of all these different people. And I'm telling you, man, I'm telling you, Robert is sitting back and he's like, oh, so they don't think I can do this. Oh, so they don't think we can do this character justice. Oh, perfect. Because now I have something to prove. Now I can actually exceed their expectations. They don't think we can pull this off. Let's go. Okay, kind of a lot of yapping in this one. Sorry about that. I just, this whole situation is kind of frustrating. Again, we'll be talking about it on stream on Monday with Rob from Comics Explained. I would love to know what you think about this. Let me know in the comment section below. And as I always say, I hope you are having an awesome and a nerdy day. And I'll see you in the next video.